putting points on the board. Because the one thing that has been a constant is they aren't as good when they're playing from behind because it takes them a little bit out of their game. So I think when you just look at your comparative scores over the year, you know, the couple games this year and then all of last year, I think you'll see where that bears its fruit.
This is technically, I think he's our third string quarterback because our second string guy who played week 1 twisted his ankle the week before
Right.
in practice. What did this guy bring to the offense?
Well, what he comes is he's a legitimate threat with his feet. You know, I mean, he's a legitimate explosive player back there. You know, not to take anything away from their other guys, but they might have been a little more, you know, could maybe, I don't know how to say it, maybe with their arm maybe showed a little more accuracy, you know, something like that. But he's a true triple guy.
Speaking of backup quarterbacks, this is the week we see if you guys are struggling, Garrett's struggling in the game.
Yeah.
Is this the week we see Nick Stevens or even Connor Smith?
Yeah, I think definitely we need to, you know, up those based on the performance. And, you know, again, I'm not putting that performance on the quarterback as much as well as the people around him, okay? But at the same time, you know, that's a position that you need to generate some things for your offense, and you know, we'll see how it goes. But he's our starter, and you know, we'll go with it from there.
Is he just on a shorter leash then? Maybe the first 3 series?
You know, I don't know. I don't look at it as a leash as much as I look at it as let's produce. You know, let's be productive, and then we'll go from there.
Are you at the point where you know who the next guy in would be if you did decide to make a change?
You know, last week Connor was backup. You know, we'll see how the practice goes this week to determine, you know, who that's going to be.
I mean, Nick is still a guy that would be in that mix.
Absolutely.
The decision that we're going to redshirt him.
Yeah, I thought Connor, you know, last week actually did a couple things. I think I felt like he kind of had a pretty good week of practice. So we were going in with him as our 2 last week, and we'll just see where it goes this week.
Does the same thing go with some of your receivers? I mean, like
Yeah.
Higgins has had trouble catching the ball at times.
You know, Richard struggled in these first 2 games. There's no doubt about it. I don't discount his talent. I don't discount the fact he's going to be a really good player for us. You know, but we've got to find some consistency, especially at the X position. And he hasn't given that. And he'll be the first one to tell you. And you know, feels horrible about it. That's the competitor he is. But maybe that also lies on us making sure that you know, he's not playing slow or tentative based on knowing exactly what to do and how to do it. You know, we've got to do a good job of getting him prepared. So, you know, that can carry on to the injury deal. Charles will try to go full today. We'll see. Okay. Right now he's got to get, you know, his mind says he can go right now, and he'll let us know that. Hansley is, you know, he ran yesterday, still can't push off real well, I guess. Will not practice today. You know, it is a hex pad day. You know, really just installation. There isn't a lot of on a Monday, heavy in the special teams install. But I would still think that Tyree will return punts, you know, and probably get Joe back as a holder anyway, you know, to get him going. And then, you know, his body will tell him when he's ready. And then Donnell, all indications will be back going and has a lot more movement, still not as good as you want. But, you know, when you start to play the game of football, your body, I mean, it from here on out never feels exactly right, you know. So, and if it does, that probably means you aren't playing. So, but you know, those are the guys there. And as I look at it from the game, Jason Oden, who was playing really good, had a little shoulder issue, which lessened his reps a little bit. Actually hurt us on one of the kickoff returns, believe it or not. it didn't hurt us. I mean, they got a little more than what they normally were getting. But we'll see how tender that is, moving forward. Calvin Tonga, again, had a little shoulder situation. Don't think it's, again, they show up on the training report simply because, they've reported something, and that's what they're supposed to do. I haven't seen him, today will be the first time we see him. So, and Jordan Baden, who late in the game had to kind of come out with a thigh contusion, where you kind of get hit right there. And Charlie horse, I guess, is the medical term. And so, but he'll be stiff, I guarantee you. But I think he'll fight through it. I thought he had a pretty good ball game, take away the one drop.
I wanted to ask you about Baden specifically. Has that drop, leads to interception, and obviously that big catch that's pretty much all him after the catch.
Mhm.
How frustrating is it as a coach, just that kind of type of consistent, where it's so extreme one way or the
Yeah,
other?
one way or the other, and then he had another good one on a first touchdown throw there or whatever. George has been working his tail off. My stress with Jordan has been consistency in his life, and he's starting to answer that a little bit and understanding what it is to give of yourself, and you might see that a little bit in his play as a carryover, but I think it's really, I thought he stepped up. He did a great job blocking. He's been our center on kickoff return, that might be the hardest position on that kickoff team because of what you ask him to do, and he's worn the sombrero, and it shows me that he's willing to really commit.
Do you adjust the way you practice offensively this week to try to shake things up to get production, or is it just status quo? You guys really need to just kind of buckle down?
No, I think buckle down. I mean, we've got to get a good look out of our scouts, and we've got to get a good look when we go goods on goods, playing fast. So, today, base install, like every Monday, a little bit of red area, a little bit of blitz, a little bit of play action, just base. Tomorrow will be a heavy first and second regular, and then second and long, and then Wednesday, with some third and long there, and then Wednesday is normal, red area, third down again, and then Thursday. So, that plan on that install, I think you could probably go around the country is universal. I mean, based on when those installs are. But
I just didn't know if you worked on different things to try to mix things, break whatever drills or whatever you're doing, things like that. Take a different approach mentally with them to try and break them out of their slump.
well, when we say a slump, I'd say consistency is huge, and we've obviously evaluated if we've had too much, which I don't. Asking the kids, they can recite to you. Now it's putting it into play is what we need to do.
Coach, you've been big about staying the course. Obviously, that's what you're talking about right now.
Uh-huh.
You did it last year. You're doing it now, even though you're 0-2. And you're saying that your team is improving, but we're not seeing it in the win-loss columns.
I think that's obvious.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think that it kind of goes back to the program that you inherited? Do you think it was?
I'm not gonna ever. No, I'm not gonna go back. I won't be that guy.
Okay.
Look, it's my responsibility to get them where they need to go. Obviously, we had a ways to go. But I'm not ever talking about the past. And, same approach, and we ended up finishing pretty good last year when we got into league. We've got to step it up. you look at this preseason, basically, with these first 5 games, we haven't finished the way I expected. There comes the disappointment, but, you know, confidence is not shaken in any, because I know how hard we're playing, and I know the fact we're in those games, which, guys, last year I don't think on the road we were in 1 game. I really don't.
In another vein, kind of a lighter note, are you a superstitious guy? I noticed you shaved the goatee.
You know, I probably got tired of looking at that ugly mug, but you know, that is, I mean, there are some things that I've kind of always, kind of a routine of things, if that makes sense. So maybe subliminally for me, it's probably a fresh start. How's that? I don't know.
Jim, you talked about finishing games.
Uh-huh.
How do you coach that?
Well, you know, the emphasis of what we do at the end of practice, I think, is very important. You know, I thought a year ago we actually finished 2 games pretty good, you know, towards the end. This is a whole different team. The fact that we've got ourselves there, now don't be shocked that we're there. All right? That shouldn't enter in. That should be an expectation. How we determine in what we do to really press the metal, you know, press the foot pedal to the metal and say, now it's time to really go. You know, I think of those couple of those drives we killed ourselves with some penalties. You know, we got holding call coming out on one, you know, obviously the loss of down on the other. Are we good enough to overcome those adversity, you know, those negative plays like I've talked about? You know, I think we haven't. I think what we do is make sure that when we get to those parts of practice that we really emphasize this is the time, no matter what's left in your tank, you know, this is the time where you need to really go. You know, I think when you watched us play in this last game, I mean, you guys were there. I mean, it was a little warm. You know, I don't know what they said it was at the turf, you know. I mean, with
That was the temperature, what it was on, probably about 110 on the field.
and I never saw our guys in any way look, you know, they played hard. So I didn't see that as a factor. You know, which I think credits, again, what they put in. Now, when your tank is a little empty, now it's time to dig down deep and go. And, you know, that's something we'll obviously work on, and that's why we do what we do towards the end of practice.
On the bright side, your run game seems to have made the strides that you want it to.
You know, we got some, I tell you what, we got some explosive plays, which is good to see. I think, you know, still a little bit in the consistency part. You know, we missed a couple checks that